libraries.
They're actually in the library.
Hi. Okay, so where's the meeting going to be? In there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the 24s were different from the 25s and 26s, so they changed it again in 27?
That's what I think. See, I have 15.
I think the library is closed to the public.
I'm sorry, you want to get the camera? Right over here, please. Okay, so you're saying the library is closed to the public?
You can knock on the door and you can ask them.
Where is the library at? That was my question.
The library is the first door on the left.
Okay. Okay. So apparently the town is doing reviews for the judge, justice here in the town of Lee, behind closed doors. So we're just going to validate that that's either legal or illegal. So just give us a moment. Okay. While the open meetings law requires public access to meetings, interviews are typically held in executive sessions because they concern matters leading to the appointment of employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of any person. Exceptions: if a public body such as a city council decides to interview all candidates for a high-level position during a scheduled public work session, that process could be open, though not required. The majority, now this isn't really a hiring. This is an appointment of a justice. So I need to get some more information on that. Generally, in order to do interviews of folks for a position, the process would be to open a meeting, a public meeting, and then go into executive session for those interviews. So we'll be right with you. Interviews for a town justice position in New York State are generally conducted in private, specifically through an executive session in the town board. So an executive session would require an open meeting. That open meeting then would follow with an executive session, and that executive session would then be the private interviews of those folks running for any or asking to be appointed to any specific position. I'm just going to knock on the door and see if they know that. Hey, I know you guys are in an interview, right? But did you have a public meeting? Okay, in New York State, it is required. I understand, but in New York State, it is required that you open a public meeting and you break into an executive session for interviews. You don't understand here. Executive session, well, they open here. Interviews for a town justice position in New York State are generally conducted in private, specifically through an executive session of the town board. Here is a breakdown of how the process works in New York State. Executive session, while the open meeting law requires board meetings to be open to the public, the board may enter into an executive session to discuss qualifications of a candidate. The procedure to conduct interviews privately, the board must first convene in an open meeting, pass a motion to enter executive session to discuss the qualification of candidates for the town justice vacancy, and then close the meeting to the public. Well, I just want you to know, that is the law. And if you do not do that, you are breaking the law. It's easy. It is very easy for you just to say right now, in public, We are opening a meeting. We're going to break to executive session. We are going to interview candidates. We're going to come back to the meeting and we're going to close the meeting. It's that easy. Please do that. You don't have to public. New York State said it does not matter. You cannot have a private meeting to interview candidates without opening a public meeting first and then breaking into an executive session from that. This is the law. He just read it. You want to show me? I would urge you, please. Well, if you're going to have that, it's public, so we get to record that. And you know what? It's positive to do that because people. Wait, did you open it? And did you have a motion to have the executive session? Okay, well then let me record that because this is public.
Make a motion. Yeah, whatever.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Yes.
So what are you going to do then?
We're in executive
We're in
session.
executive session. Now, please leave us.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so the town did break into an executive session. The meeting was public for a moment while we were there. They are now in executive session, and they are doing exactly what the town law and the state law requires them to do. That's a beautiful thing. It keeps them upfront, transparent to the public, and that's exactly the way you should want your town to run. Awesome. So for the next few minutes here, we're just going to hang out. I'm not sure how many they're going to interview, but we'll wait and kind of watch what happens in that process.
That's where I have a problem with it. That's my personal opinion.
Well, we got kids driving on the road.
These are probably worse than both of them.
So what we're going to do in between these two meetings, we're at a fire commissioner's meeting or something like that coming up here in a couple of minutes. So we're going to get started on that, and we're going to stay up with these folks because they're going to need to close the meeting, the public side of the meeting for this interviewing or basically reviewing candidates for the justice position. So the meeting is coming up here for the fire board, and we're going to cover that expressly here. So just give us a couple minutes to set that up. As well, we're going to post on the website here, Town of Lee Civic Affairs. We're going to post that portion of the law that states that you need to break into executive session to interview folks for a position such as a justice for the town of Lee, and that is a requirement that you first open a public meeting, and then from that public meeting you break into executive session. Now that is directly in the open meetings law, and there was some confusion about how that might play out. I went right to New York State open meetings law and read it direct from the law, and that's what we're going to post online for you folks to see right now so that you can review that yourselves. Now, if there is another section inside open meetings law which pertains only to justices, that's a different story. However, in the law for open meetings, Section 105F states as such for positions such as justice. And that is a part of that. we're going to wait. Are they still in executive? Okay. We're going to wait until they're done with that. Hopefully they'll. Okay, so they're still in executive session. They're discussing things, so that's fine, and they're going to let us know as soon as they're done with that. So they did close the executive session, and they actually didn't open the public meeting again. They didn't inform anybody that they were back, that they were actually holding the public meeting, so the public wasn't really able to attend. And I asked them in the future if they could make sure they do that, because public meetings in New York State are required public attendance. And not only that, but they didn't actually inform anyone that they were having this public meeting to hold an executive session so that they could interview justice candidates. They're already behind the ball. And this just points out some of the issues with towns that just plain work off of the old boy network, don't really consider the public because they feel that they're above that for some reason. And hopefully with the public's attention to both this current matter and other matters, they'll get this resolved in the town of Lee and kind of prevent this kind of issue from happening in the future. So thank you so much. This is Town of Lee Civic Affairs, trying to get to the bottom of just what happened today.